Yes, we can.
Okay,
All right, I'm
perfect.
going to admit everybody in.
Morning.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Can you hear me
Hello.
properly?
Morning.
How are you?
Morning.
That's the first. Okay, guys, how is everybody? Everybody's connected, that they can hear, they can speak. We have a lot of people just making sure that everything's cool. So I'm just gonna assume yes. I see everybody's in. Other
Yes.
than cool.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Presence on the way to work.
I'm heading to work, so yeah.
And I see Mohammed is still trying to connect to audio, so we're gonna wait 2 more minutes, 1 more minute for him. Okay. So thank you all for joining us for the kickoff of our 2-week boot camp. So we have a fantastic schedule ready to roll with a lot of interesting topics to cover, a lot of education and a lot of experts how we have lined up for you guys. So it's going to be really, really cool. Today we have just a light intro day with our head of corporate comms. We have Leah here, and we have Dina as well, who is our chief of innovation. So first thing we're going to do is a round of intros. So you guys get to do like a 2-minute pitch from the brand side, and then we'll introduce ourselves as well. And then we'll jump into our presentation of the group and who shall who biz, where we are, who we are, our history, etc. Then I'll do a little bit of a light intro on the greenhouse, even though you guys are quite familiar with it, just to kind of give it a refresher and to highlight some of the programs that we run that you might not know. And then Eliane is going to run you through the Saudi consumer and market, just to kind of give you a good overview of where we've been and how the future of Saudi is looking from a consumer and market perspective. So who wants to start from the brands, just to kind of do a 2-minute pitch? And don't worry, I think after we're done, Sinead is going to run you through a mini exercise of how to pitch your brands quickly in an elevator pitch style. But before that, who wants to go? Who wants to start to introduce their brand? Kauthar, I know you're always eager to jump in first.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Kauthar Resh. I'm the designer and owner of Kaf by Kaf. I met some of you. I think Dina. I met Dina on. Yeah. So I design mostly modest wear. I am part of Shalhoub Fashion Lab, and my specialty is actually printing on fabric and creating structures.
Did everybody get that? Kauthar, we kind of lost you there for a second. And we lost it completely. Let's see, Faye, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm also on my way to work, so the video thing is a bit difficult. My partner and I, Dalal Musa, she's also here. We're the
Hi.
designers and founders of Cones and Rods.
I'm sorry, everyone. I just lost my connection. Keep going.
No issues, no issues. Faye, did you say you can't turn on your camera? Would love to see what you look like.
It's a bit difficult because I'm driving to work right now. So yeah, my partner and I, we are the co-founders and designers of Cones and Rods, which is a luxury limited edition sustainable eyewear brand. We design the eyewear pieces ourselves and we manufacture them in Japan.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Jude from Nom's Life, do you want to go next? You kind of have to, because I called you out.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Jude.
Sorry, I just joined, so
No issues. We're just doing quick brand intros.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jules Fatani. I'm the creator and designer behind Nums Life. Nums is a graphic, ready-to-wear lifestyle brand that was built around the secret society. And sorry, what else what else would you want me to include?
No, don't
I
worry
don't
about
know
it.
how
Too early to
Don't-
process, June. Too early to process.
exactly.
Fair enough. Daniel, you want to go next?
Sure. Can you hear
Yes,
me? 'Cause
sure.
all of you have on. I thought Daniel.
Hello. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I would love it if you
Yes.
guys could put your cameras on because this is actually a meet and greet and it's difficult to meet you.
Okay, sure. No problem. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Dali Bakharji and I'm the designer and founder of Human Error, which is a streetwear brand with artistic designs, and it's mainly based on collaborations. Is that enough?
Yeah, perfect. Daniel, you're next. Or did we lose her too? All right, let's jump to.
Hi, everyone. I'm sorry.
Oh, hey.
Everyone's been lagging, so I don't know if it's my internet.
No, we can hear you. Go for it.
Okay, because everyone's been lagging, so I don't know if it's me or. So hi, everyone. I'm the owner and creative director of Dani Shankar. It's a contemporary and sustainable bag brand with a focus on Italian craftsmanship and eco-friendly materials and unconventional designs with visual twists. Our major influences come from art, vintage designs, and yeah, designed for the contemporary woman.
Thank you. Mohammed, you're last but not least. And if you can turn on your camera, that would be fantastic so the ladies can see what you look like.
Good morning. Hi, how are you guys? My name is Mohammed Bajaba. I'm the founder and creative director of Proud Angeles, as a streetwear brand that is inspired by the community and creative individuals.
And creative what?
Individuals. Cool. All right. So I think we've done all the brand intros. It's our turn now. I'm gonna ask Dina to start and introduce yourself and where you work and what you do.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Really excited to kick off. And I know you guys have all met Sinead in person. I know she's been like the best sidekick for this like fashion lab, and I'm glad you guys got to meet her. So I'm Dina. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer of the group. Under innovation, we have really 3 and 4 key pillars starting next year, but the greenhouse is where we do new business models, where we have our incubators. So we have a beauty incubator that was launched for the region, from the region, not just in KSA. We've now launched the Fashion Lab. We have a retail technology accelerator where we partner with people internally and external startups to solve certain pain points in our organization. And we have Ibtikad and the Startup Studio where we create our own startups with new disruptive business models. Another pillar in innovation is the beauty makers. So we create brands in beauty that address our local consumer, and we try to find opportunities and gaps in the market to do that. We will be launching the Fashion Makers next year, where we'll be doing the same thing for fashion, but we're still assessing the strategy and trying to understand where we want to be playing in the Fashion Makers. We also have a corporate innovation pillar where we try to kind of systematically improve innovation inside the organization in our core business. One of the things we do there is we're starting to test new business models for our existing brands. So for example, circular fashion within our fashion brands, or like rental, or a bunch of different new types of business models within our businesses. And that's a little bit about me.
Thank you. Leah, would you like to tell us who you are?
With pleasure. Hi, everyone. Despite the fact that I met few of you in Riyadh a month ago, I don't know if you remember. and I was so happy to meet you personally. So I've been knowing you for almost 4 months now, supporting Dina, Rafi, and the team on the PR, on the communication, to raise awareness about this project, to get features, to make you shine, all of you. So my name is Leia Malouf. I've been in the Chalhoub group for 4 years now. I lead the external comm, media relations, features, speaking opportunities, public relations, and yeah, I'll take you through a group presentation later on. Nice to meet you again.
You guys need to be really good friends with Leia.
Best friend.
Leia's some of the hottest press.
They did a good job this summer. It was great. And Eliane, would you mind telling us who you are and what you do?
Of course. Hi, good morning, everyone. So my name is Eliane. I've been with the group for about 3 years now, and I work primarily on consumer research. So for today, I'm going to be taking you through a little bit about this modern Saudi fashion consumer. I'm sure you guys know a lot more about her than we do, but we have a few numbers and figures to back it up, and hopefully can be a little bit help further down the line.
Thank you, Eliane. Do you mind telling us what your department does? I think it's quite interesting for the guys.
Yeah, it could take longer than the time we have allocated, but basically we, I guess, have 2 departments, but we sit within a wider strategy, growth, investments, and innovation department. So, you know, you have Dina and Rafi here, but within our smaller one, we have intelligence, strategy, and growth. So basically try and identify, you know, different opportunities available to the group within the region and, you know, increasingly outside of the region. And within intelligence, yeah, understanding more about our consumers, about our brands, our sales, etc. So that's a little bit about us.
I think if I can jump in as well, I think it's an interesting point to kind of talk about SGII, where we both sit. Actually, Eliane's eye is a little bit missing from that SGII, but so SGII was created at the beginning of this year as basically the future-facing part of the organization. So we brought intelligence, strategy, growth, so the SG missing one eye, and then innovation and investment into the same department, reporting to Michael Chalhoub. And the goal of that was really to use our intelligence, understand our opportunities, set our strategy for now and the 10 years to come, set our vision as an organization and where we want to be, and then use those kind of opportunities and intelligence to then figure out where we want to be investing and where we want to be innovating. And those things are all quite reinforcing to each other. And so we sit very closely with investment as well. So that's where we are kind of the testing ground for a lot of things in innovation that end up using data into investment. And that's why really the ultimate goal of this fashion lab is to identify potential future opportunities. Obviously, there's a lot of side effects that can happen from this fashion lab that we really want to be continuing the conversation with you. Positive outcomes are not just an investment, but we want to understand how we can help you grow, how we can have a win-win situation where we both grow together. But yeah, so that's kind of the SGII division that innovation sits within.
Cool.
Any questions for us? Everyone else, are you going to introduce yourself?
I will, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, I know a lot of you know me from speaking to me via email and maybe a few calls here or there, but I haven't probably properly introduced myself. My name's Rafi, and I head the marketing and the programs and operations here at the Greenhouse. I've been with the group for the past decade. So in November, I'll do 10 years. So a long time. I know, it's crazy. I've been in fashion and the fashion vertical. I've been in the beauty vertical. I was part of the old strategy team, and I've worked on a couple of interesting ventures within the organization. But for the past three and a half years, I've been with Dina working at the greenhouse, trying to set all the fund strategies, programs, and trying to build the equity of the greenhouse locally, regionally, and internationally. So I'm really, really happy to have you guys here. But that's kind of just a nutshell of who I am and what I've done. So bit of a seasoned Shalhoubi, as they would say.
Rafi is basically the mayor of Shalhoub. Mukhtar Shalhoub, basically.
The reason why I'm good at my job is because I know everybody. Sinead, I mean, everybody knows you through and through.
That's fine.
So I work with Sinead and Sinead works with me. So that's all you guys need to know. Great. So now we're done any intros, all the intros. Does anybody have any questions on the SGI department? I'll take you for the greenhouse and a little bit more in depth of what we do, but just any general questions you guys wanted to ask before we jump into our on the presentation on Shalhoub Group.
No, thank you.
Okay, so if Kauthar and Mohammed have no questions, I think we have no questions.
Surprise us, you know.
No, everything was clear.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Leah, the floor is yours.
I'll go.
Please let us know who Shalhoub Group is.
Tell me if you see my screen.
We do.
Perfect. I'm very happy to share the latest corporate profile, updated one. So yeah, I'm sure you heard and you've seen this hashtag We Are Shalhoub that we use everywhere whenever we communicate on social media. So We Are Shalhoub, we are a leading luxury partner, and we've been in the region for over 65 years now. We are a specialist in retail distribution marketing services in three main categories that are beauty, fashion, and art de vivre, homeware. That is the least represented category within our portfolio, but it's a very important one. And talking about art de vivre quickly, we are having an exhibition within Expo 2020, kicking off on the 8th of November around the French art de vivre, this French lifestyle and homeware, with three main French brands that we do represent in the region: Baccarat, Christophe, and Bernardo. So if you happen to be in Dubai starting 8th of November, please reach out to me and go and see our exhibition within the French pavilion. The group was founded in 1955 by the late Michel Shalhoub. I'm sure you heard about Michel Shalhoub passing away this summer, end of July. So Michel Shalhoub and his wife, Widad, founded the Shalhoub Group. It all started with one boutique, one store for Christophe in Damascus, in Syria, in 1955, before we reach where we are today. So the beautiful story is that it all started with Christophe, and now Christophe is owned by the Shalhoub Group. We are driven by our purpose. I'm sure you've seen as well this purpose somewhere within our communication. We want to inspire, we want to exhilarate, we want to delight our customers. We are guided by our values: respect, excellence, and entrepreneurial spirit that I'm sure as well were shared with you previously. This is our manifesto. We are very proud to say that we are a family. Shalhoub Group is a family business, and you can feel it within the culture that's embedded within the values that are shared by the employees. What we want, and our mission is really to be on a journey. Our promise is to create meaningful connection and lasting memories with our people, our customers, and we are always on a quest for the beautiful. A glimpse into our history. I will not go into details for each and every year since 1955, but maybe the main dates. So established in Syria in 1955, as mentioned previously. Throughout the years, the group had to move from Beirut to Kuwait. Then after Kuwait invasion, the headquarters was the UAE. So we went through a lot of turbulence and of crisis throughout our history, which makes sense when you live in this region that's shaken all the time. The first own concept was created in 1980, which is Tanagra. I'm sure you've heard about Tanagra, or you've been to any of one of our Tanagra stores, which is the Art de Vivre store, then Faces in 1989. And we started exploring, getting more and more brands, exploring our opportunities in the region, developing in the region operations in Egypt, Bahrain, Qatar, and so on. Some of the main I would say dates are the greenhouse launch in 2018 for the modern history, I would say. The Muse loyalty program launch in 2019, which is our app first loyalty program. We launched first in UAE, then Kuwait and Saudi Arabia, and we are very proud to launch the Concept by Muse. You know exactly which concept store I'm talking about in Riyadh. So it's the latest. It's the tangible store. When we developed, I mean, in depth with the loyalty program, the Beauty Lab 2021, and in between, of course, acquisition and JVs, L'Occitane, Loewe, Mulberry, Beta stores in 2019, and so on. Our ambition is to add value to our partners. So we started as being an ambassador of luxury lifestyle, then a leading partner for luxury, and our transformation that we started in 2017, and as we say, it's an always on transformation, is to be hybrid retailer and luxury shaper, bringing luxury experience to the fingertips of customers everywhere. So this is where we are heading, and this is what we started doing with our transformation and shift team that was created in 2017 with 900 days to transform not only digital transformation, but it's about the mindset, the processes, the way we work and the way we operate and the way we do our business. We are powered by our people. It's very interesting to see that we have more than 105 nationalities, average age of 34. We have 38% of women in management, 72% of our workforce in KSA are women, and we have 8,325 frontliners, including the distribution and JVs business. It's a very dynamic and cosmopolitan population of the region. It's representative of this. We are human first. The group was awarded Great Place to Work in many countries. Lately, we had the third position for Great Place to Work for women in the GCC, which is an amazing award. This means that we invest in our people. We offer learning and dev resources. We are dedicated. Sorry, guys. Okay. We are dedicated to really grow them, to nurture them, to create a culture every day that everyone belongs to. We are invested in our sustainability with 4 main pillars: people, partners, planet, and impact. So we want to ensure that people are healthy, happy, motivated. We want to build strong and durable relationship with our partners, and of course, minimize negative environmental impact and give back always to the community through our impact and Chalhoub Impact program. One of our latest, I would say, maybe activity around sustainability was Patrick Chalhoub being a key speaker last week on Wednesday from the Women's Pavilion in Expo 2020. I highly recommend you if you are in Dubai and if you go to Expo to pass by this pavilion, which is really amazing one. So Patrick was speaking about how we create, we are creating programs for women in leadership, how we are more and more pushing diversity and inclusion and making it a core aspect of the way we do our business, to really be advocate of gender equality and parity. Chalhoub in numbers, a few important figures. So we are 20,500 team members, 61% female workforce, more than 680 plus retail stores across the region. We have 50 plus e-commerce websites and apps. When I used to do this presentation 2 years ago before COVID, we used to talk about 12, 10, e-commerce websites, and I'm so proud to see the number increasing. So of course, COVID was a big accelerator for our e-commerce business, and the team with the collaborative approach did an amazing job to make sure we are present online through our brands. We have 5.1 million unique customer records, which is amazing data. We are industry reference. So, sorry. With more than, with 5 GCC markets covered, 1 million plus Muse members, 23 CX journeys designed. Oh, sorry guys. Sorry, back. It's okay. We are industry because I'm, oh, okay, now it's fine. I had the screen in the middle. So over the years, we become a major player in the beauty fashion sector regionally. We are, why we always talk about fashion accessories and beauty, because they are the two main categories that we cover: 24 fashion brands, 84 beauty brands, 3,390 team members when it comes to this specific categories. The fashion business for us is dedicated really to cater to the Middle Eastern customer. I'm sure by now you know what I'm talking about, and to make sure that we understand their taste, we provide them a personalized experience. For the beauty, we procure international and homegrown beauty brands, and we want to create original labels, which is definitely the objective of the whole innovation around the beauty makers and the beauty lab. And we have a comprehensive established presence in the regional beauty market. We are brand builders. We have 6 unique own brands across the region, and we are the house of brands in the region. So we want to help build global brands, and we develop our own brands. We are investing to expand beyond the traditional frontiers, and we really want to go with these brands that we created on international level. I will take you through the 6 brands later on. We are customer-centric. 3 main programs, tangible programs about our customer centricity are the market and consumer intelligence team. Eliane will tell you more about this one. The Muse loyalty program that we created in 2019. The customer experience program to transform the group into a customer-centered group that is curated by brand and by vertical. We have the coverage of 5 GCC markets covered through these programs. The Muse loyalty program now is around 1 million plus members, and we designed already 23 CX journey. We are retail experts. So here, I think this slide is very interesting for you to understand better our business models in the region. We have mainly 3 main business models. So the brand management and representation through what we call the managed companies for beauty retail and distribution, fashion retail and distribution, and the own brands that we have. The second business model is the joint ventures, and the third one is more investment one, and related to where we invest, the partner that we can have across the world. For each of our business units, we have the operation that goes with them, people and culture, accounting, logistic, administration, data, technology, and so on. We are a regional leader with global reach. I will not talk about the region and about the market and consumer. This will be more Eliane's part, but just giving you few information on the markets we cover. So GCC with core and direct operations, Lebanon and Iraq with investment, India, it's a direct presence as a leading beauty distributor. Latin America, we have partners there, and Africa as well, we have partner beauty distribution. So it's either through operations and subsidiaries or direct operations. And again, we ranked 3 in the Middle East, certified for UAE, KSA, Qatar, and Kuwait, and as great place to work. we go beyond traditional services, and this what makes it even more interesting for partners and for brands to partner with us. So what we call our plug and play services through our warehouses, HR team, the operating stores. So the services extend beyond the traditional scope and include teams who are preparing for the hybrid future through digitization, advances in technology. And here we have really a very big range of services that we offer to our partners, to our brands, going from finance to legal to logistics, without talking about the resources from intelligence, technology, e-commerce, and of course, we do have the complementary business that our brands can benefit from. The future-proof resources. We talk a lot about technology, e-commerce, data. So it's a big focus for the group. It's been a big focus for the group for a few years now. We want really to create and to put the right technology to create the value and purpose for our business and our customers. We are investing in world-class capabilities and scouting for the best talent when it comes to e-commerce. And as I mentioned previously, we really increased our presence, and COVID was a big accelerator. And we are proud now to have more than 50 websites and online website for e-commerce website for our brands. And we provide insight through data analytics to our brands to understand their customers, products, retail, supply chain, and e-commerce. When it comes to complementary business, so basically we are supported by businesses under our group's umbrella. And when we talk about this, we have mainly 5 main complementary businesses that are the deal, which is the off-price and liquidation business, the travel retail. We partner with global brands on strategic initiatives. We have marketing campaign. We are a regional player in travel retail. The 3D project delivery, which is the project management consultancy specialized in commercial, which are the architect basically that are specialized in delivering commercial projects. Just for you to know, the Riyadh, the concept venues in Riyadh Park was delivered and designed by 3D, which is the internal architecture house for the Chalhoub Group, the Modern Media Studios, our content factory, and Havas Village, which is a unique proposition of creative media, PR, all under one roof. We lead the way always one step ahead. This is mainly to take you quickly through our own brands. So we create unique brands for the market, and we launch dedicated space for innovation and growth. So we have 6 own retail brands. I'm sure you know most of them by now. And we have 134 team members focused on innovation and growth. So part of the innovation and growth is as well to bring new brands, new idea, to be a brand builder of new concepts. Our own brands are Christophe, which now we call, we consider it as an own brand, which is the Parisian Silversmith Maison, Tanagra, Ghawali, Tanagra the Art de Vivre, Ghawali the Oriental Perfume, Level Shoes, Triano, and Faces. So the idea is really to scout the Middle East for leading trends and to approach beauty and fashion industry with tailored selection for our customers through our own brands. And this is why, again and again, we are proud to invest and to believe in local talents and to make sure that we bring to life creation, we bring to life talents that are responding to the local consumer, because they know the local customer more than we do. Christophe, quickly a few points about each of our own brands. So it exists since 1830, so it's a very unique concept, present in 70 countries with 46 owned stores. We have a big distribution network through wholesales, website, hospitality, and the really cutting edge of this brand is the unique know-how. And I was very happy to learn a few days ago, Patrick was having an interview that Christophe is the exclusive supplier for the UAE palaces in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, and actually it was Michel Chelhoub who started this, presenting Christophe Silversmith to His Highness Sheikh Zayed back in time, and since then Christophe is the exclusive supplier. So Level Shoes, Traiano, and Faces. Level Shoes, the biggest omni-channel footwear accessory retailer in the Middle East. I hope you all already shopped from Level Shoes online or offline. Traiano, the leading luxury fashion destination department store, and in Abu Dhabi, that was revamped lately with a very nice customer experience journey. Faces, the one-stop destination for everything beauty, Tanagra and Ghawali. Innovation and growth. In the presence of Dina and Rafi, I'm not the right speaker to talk about innovation and growth, but I will try. So just a few words to say that this definitely underline the importance of transformation to thrive at the group, to be agile, to be adaptable, to be future-proof, to have a positive contribution in the community. And we really want to make sure that we are responding through our innovation, through our new projects, through our new investment to the new customer. We are offering the new experiences. We are adapting to the new market dynamics and the changes happening, not only in the region, but in the world as well. We have the corporate ventures and acquisition. We have the greenhouse and the Ibtikar, brand and beauty curation. So it goes without saying, and Dina did a quick presentation first, that this is a big focus for the group. It's not only for the group to position itself on the brand creating side and innovation, but as well to make sure that we are offering the consumer the right product, and we are bringing to the region the right products and the right experience. We are Chelhoub, we create magic together, we trust and empower for growth, we live to delight our customer for a moment or for a lifetime, we are curious, we learn, we innovate. And I'll leave you with this very beautiful quote for Michel Chelhoub. We are fighters, the enemy is not competition, hard times or new ways. What we fight against every day is complacency. And that was it. I'm happy to hear any question you have, any feedback you have.
I was wondering if you'll be able to share this file with us or just.
Of course, I will. I will share a summary. Actually, this presentation is more than 55 slides. I tried to make it to summarize. I want
to read it all, if you can share.
Of course, with pleasure. And we have few slides on Saudi Arabia. But since Eliane will take us through the Saudi Arabia market, I'll let her do this one.
Cool. Thank you very much, Lev. Very, very informative. I don't think anybody's seen the new.
I love the new presentation.
Exactly. It's the first time we presented, I would say, externally / internally. So yeah, it's our first presentation. I'm very happy that you guys liked it.
Does anybody have any questions just in general about the group, history, our businesses, our kind of goals, et cetera, et cetera? Now is the time.
Are you guys still here?
Guys, you can always reach out to me by email.
It's very interesting to me. Actually, the most interesting part is the partnership and how you have different categories. It's not only owning or partner or investing. That was interesting to me.
Yeah, exactly. And mainly we just think about the joint ventures because, I mean, we are the partner of the LVMH group in the region and we all know how big LVMH is, but it goes beyond this. And I think this fact that we have a very diverse business models makes it even more interesting for sometimes smaller brands or new entrepreneur, like young entrepreneur and local brands to really partner with us and to reach out to us because the portfolio is very it's very diverse.
No, fair enough.
I'm staying here. If you have any questions, happy to answer you. And yeah, I'm sure we will work a lot together. So best of luck.
Thank you, Leah.
Welcome.
Thank
My
you so
pleasure.
much.
Awesome. Thank you, Leah, so much. Really, really cool. Are you guys going to be developing a video as well? Because usually you have a cool video.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Great. So now it's my turn, and I'm going to present the greenhouse. So let me just share my screen. Even though you guys know a bit about the greenhouse, I'll give you a bit more insight on that. Let's see, where is the little here? I can see that.
Yeah.
It was hidden. Can you guys see? Cool. All right, so you've already seen this picture in Leah's presentation. This is our beautiful space, and that's actually from our first inaugural day where we launched the greenhouse. So you see Patrick on the left, Rania and Dina's, well, back of their heads. But you can see the beautiful space. So I think only Kauthar has actually seen our space. So if you guys have the chance to come and visit us in Dubai, I do encourage you to do so. And we'll give you a nice tour of our offices. This is where we work. And at the back wall, you can see our kind of mural / manifesto. And this is kind of where we put our guidelines, our visions and mission, and the way we see the greenhouse and how we should conduct ourselves within our environment. So the greenhouse was born out of the need of the group to kind of transform. So the group put together a task force called Shift that was really kind of looked into how we can take Shahu Group, which was at the time a traditional, very heavy, huge conglomerate, and turn it into this kind of hybrid, super agile, and very customer-centric and customer-connected organization. And this was done in 10 sprints of 90 days. And this is why we usually like the 90-day sprint methodology, but really to make sure that the group is really positioned to be future-proof, to be agile with the times, and obviously with COVID and all the other accelerations in technology, this was extremely important at the time, and it was very timely of the group to do so. Out of this kind of transformation initiative was born the greenhouse. And this is kind of where we are at the moment, of course. But really the reason why the greenhouse was created is to start the disruption within the organization before we get disrupted from the outside. So this is where we usually use examples such as Netflix and Blockbuster, Uber and the taxi commission. And this is where we wanted to put together the brilliance of the outside world and the brilliance of the experts within the organization, and really kind of put them together to unleash exponential growth and really to start adding tangible value, not to our organization alone, but to the community externally. So as Dina already touched, the greenhouse is made out of 4 core pillars. We have a retail tech accelerator, which I'll speak a little bit more about, Iptikar, which is our internal incubation program, the incubator, which is an external incubator looking at fashion and beauty. Obviously, you guys are part of the fashion side, and our newly minted startup studio, which is launching hopefully in the next month or so. And I won't touch too much on the startup studio because we're still kind of figuring everything out, but I'll touch up a little bit on it as to what we're trying to do with it. So the accelerator, it really looks at understanding what kind of pain points we have within our brands, within our organization, pain points and issues that are scalable, and we go out and seek startups from all around the world in order to help us address these pain points. We do this in a kind of systematic manner. We do this every year where we get all the decision makers of the group, all the C-levels, all the GMs, et cetera, we pretty much ask them what issues they're facing within their brands and business units. Once we identify real core, real pain points, as I said, we go out and find startups that solve those pain points. We match the brands with those startups, and we run these proofs of concept where we fund a proof of concept where pretty much we set up the startup to show us that they can actually solve that particular pain point for that brand. So one example that I like to give is a startup called Store DNA. that we matched it with Tory Burch, and we pretty much what Store DNA does is it looks at the offline experience and offline store analytics, more like a Google Analytics for the offline store, to really understand what kind of how the merchandising, sorry guys, a little bit of construction happening on both sides of the greenhouse, but really to understand exactly what's happening in the store and put some data, merge with sales to understand how we can merchandise better, how we can really see how we can use our store staff's time better in order to increase sales. So what we found out, one learning from this was a lot of people assume if they put their newest collection in front of the store will drive a lot of store footfall traffic into that store. But what we found out is that if you mix your basics with your new collection, that actually had a footfall increase of about 30%. So this is how a startup can come in and bring innovation and bring a little bit of disruption from the outside in order to really try to scale the growth of a brand or a business unit. We've run around 16 of these proofs of concept with the brand that you hear, with Level Shoes, with Triano, with Dolce, etc. We work with over 17 startups, and we've signed 16 commercial agreements with these startups due to the fact that they've been able to actually help our brands, generate top line or bottom line revenue. We're in the middle of a cohort at the moment. We're looking at some really interesting things such as live video shopping, understanding e-commerce behavior, and addressing the front end of a website in order to appeal to a particular journey a customer might be taking. We're looking at enhancing our operations in our Faces stores with a really cool tool that helps VM visual merchandising be a lot quicker and a lot more efficient. And these are the types of things that we're trying to tackle in order to really to add innovation within those business units, within those brands themselves. We have Iptikar, which is a very exciting internal project. And this is where we allow any employees of the group to come to the greenhouse and to submit any business idea that they might have. We obviously vet those out. Our core team vets those out. We help them with putting together a pitch deck. Then they pitch to a committee made out of experts within the organization. And if that particular idea has been deemed worthy, what we do is we'll pull that entrepreneur into the greenhouse to work full-time on it, and they get funding internally in order to realize that business. We do this in 90-day sprints, and we fund them at every stage of those sprints, of course, if the KPIs are hit and we have good results. The idea here is, as I said earlier, to create disruption, to create new business model within our organization, and really who best than the employees of the group. We have over 12,000 employees. We are bound to have some great entrepreneurs and some great ideas that we can build at and just grow. We have one incredible example with Wear That. This is a styling box solution where you, as a consumer, mainly females at the moment, can answer a lengthy survey that addresses kind of like what your goals are, whether it's for you looking for to get clothes for work, whether you have a particular budget, depending on your body shape, and you send all that info, very much data driven, to the Wear That team, and the stylist there will put together a hyper personalized box. They'll send that to you to your home. You get to try it. Whatever you like, you keep. Whatever you don't, you return back, and you only pay for the things that you keep. The model is not unique, but it hasn't been launched here in the UAE. We launched this venture about 2 years ago with Heidi, who is our founder and entrepreneur, and she's been able to raise a lot of in internal funding. It's in the 7 digits. I'm not going to say what the amount, but it's quite high. And these are the types of businesses that we're looking to grow within the organization. This is kind of the unfair advantage that our internal employees get. They get obviously a lot of the mentorship. They get frictionless funding. They get preferential rates from the logistics partners. We have a content arm that you guys are tapping into. They can tap into it as well. And pretty much they get to be plugged into the whole entrepreneur and startup world that we play in, which is fantastic because the learning there is great. And then we have the incubator, and you guys are very familiar with the incubator. We launched the incubator because we found 2 main issues. First, from a market perspective, there aren't too many incubators out there that focus on fashion or beauty in order to really support early stage fashion and beauty brands to grow. We know that we're looking at shorter brand life cycles, and the customer is looking for that more indie, what we like to call long tail customer. This is kind of where we wanted to create a program that supports you guys in general. On our side, we wanted to build a systematic and data-driven approach of finding and unearthing these super cool early stage on-trend or pre-trend fashion brands, really the next big thing in beauty, to understand whether there's massive potential to invest in them and to grow them. So talking about a win-win situation. I have a short video here of our beauty lab that we launched last year. So I wanted to share that with you just to kind of, we've created one for you guys as well. And I'm sure you've seen it, but this is the beauty one, and it highlights some of the brands that we work with. And if you guys see any opportunity in collaborating with our beauty lab brands, that would be really, really cool. Do get in touch with me and I can definitely put you in touch. So I'm just gonna break the talking with a little video right now. Oh, sorry, I definitely missed the play button. That was a beauty lab. This is what the program looked like this year, and obviously everywhere we're trying to improve our incubator program. So obviously we'll be talking to you guys after the program, after the boot camp, just to understand how we can make these better and more impactful for you. But this is what a general timeline would look like for our beauty and or fashion incubators, where we have a recruitment campaign that you guys have seen, then we do a shortlist where you guys pitch, then we launch, and then we run either events or performance marketing to really test your performance out in the wild. And then we kind of ended with a demo day where we talk about our learnings, what are some of the things that were good, what are some of the things that were bad, and how we can improve and move forward and hopefully invest in some, if not all of you at that time. That's pretty much it from the greenhouse side. So before we jump into the, I guess, fun part of the day, which is Eliane, I think Dina wanted to say a couple of words before she had to dash out.
Are you saying that I'm not fun?
Not as fun as market and consumer data.
No, definitely Eliane's part is the more fun part. I have to jump out to another meeting. I just wanted to say a final welcome to everybody and to give you a few words of wisdom from what we've seen in previous cohorts that worked and what didn't work. I would definitely encourage you guys to make the best out of this this fashion lab. We're giving you access to some of the people and parts of the organization that really rarely people get access to. I suggest you guys always show up. I would also hope that you guys can also put your cameras on in the future, because we're asking a lot of people in the organization to take time to meet with you guys, and it'd be nice for them to have faces to talk to. And really, wherever you see opportunity, go for it. Reach out to our team, be proactive. Wherever you meet someone and you think there's potential or there's some interest or this person can help you or mentor you in any way, please follow through, follow up with us. We're a small team, so we can't be so proactive as we'd like to be with you guys. But wherever you see opportunities, we're here to help, including myself. And I look forward to getting to know you guys a lot better over the period of the next few months. And good luck with your sales. Again, to reiterate Rafi's point of, we're always interested in feedback. always let us know what we can do better, because that will help future entrepreneurs as well. Thank you so much. Have a great boot camp. There's going to be a lot of, we're going to overwhelm you with learning.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, look forward to seeing you guys again. Have a good day.
Thanks, Dina.
Bye.
Does anybody have like any last second questions specifically for Dina before she has to dash out?
She has to dash out.
She has to dash out. You can ask me any questions you wanted to ask her.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Eliana, are you ready to wow them with your research?
I mean, you're adding a lot of pressure. It has to be fun, engaging, and wow them. We'll try.
Guys, I really encourage you, feel free to stop Eliana at any one point. If there's a number you need an explanation on or a particular metric that's interesting, please feel free to stop her, raise your hand, or just jump right in and ask her. Right? That's cool, Eliana, right? I just kind of said it. But...
Absolutely. Just give me a second so I can share my screen.
No issues.
All right. Is everyone able to see?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So good morning, everyone. So for today, what I'm going to be doing is taking you through a study that we did kind of starting December 2020 into February 2021, really trying to understand this modern Saudi fashion consumer. It's something we did in collaboration with the KSA transformation team. You might have already met one of the members there, Dana Al-Hamrani. I'm not sure if you have. So, really trying to tackle, these consumers. And the big question we get is, why should we focus on fashion in Saudi Arabia? And, there's a multitude of reasons. But if there's one way really to describe Saudi, it's a country that is constantly changing. We see huge transformations under Vision 2030. We see a very vibrant economy, a burgeoning fashion industry, which is why we're so excited to have you guys here today. And as well, really, seen to be a growth engine for the group. If we look at consumers, they're digital, they're connected. If we look at the amount of time they spend on social media, we're averaging about 3 hours a day alone on social media in a country like Saudi. And if you compare to markets like the UK or France, that's about an hour or something. So we're super connected. Now, a few notes about the study, just so you can kind of frame what we're going to be talking about for the next, let's say, 20, 30 minutes. So what we did was we split this into 2 phases. I won't go into too much detail because this part is maybe a little bit less fun, but the key thing really to take away is that we spoke to Saudis only and quite young Saudis, so 18 to 35, again, reflective of a very young population. We spoke to a female majority across, and really consumers who are buying fashion on a regular basis. Now, what's interesting for us as a group is, we are somehow considered to be, this luxury group, but we see obviously opportunities somehow in the middle as well. So we didn't speak to people who are only buying luxury fashion, but rather quite an open requirement. So they're buying clothes, every 3 months and spending at least 500 riyals per trip. Typically, again, we tend to focus on Jeddah and Riyadh as kind of the main cities. And this was one of the first studies that we've done where we're really expanding into kind of secondary cities. So Mecca, Medina, Dammam, and Khobar, but as well into remote cities. So really trying to deep dive into this young consumer, within primary cities, but as well beyond. Now, just kind of a very rough overview of some of the findings, and again, the differences between these different clusters. Now, if we look at kind of consumers in Saudi, we see, primary cities, secondary cities, and remote cities. And we see behavior somehow along a spectrum. So in the primary cities, when it comes to fashion, they're really, really leading the curve. In secondary cities, so again, what we kind of consider to be Dammam, Khobar, Mecca, Medina, they're embracing change. They're not resistant to it at all, but they're not leading it as much as Saudis and, Jeddah or Riyadh. In remote cities, this is where we see, consumers are a little bit more conservative, keeping more with traditions, but, as well, mixing a bit of kind of old with new at the same time. In a little bit more detail, again, we'll look at it in more information later on, But within the primary cities, we see that consumers are buying fashion to stand out. It's not about fitting in with the crowd, unlike in the remote cities. In secondary cities, it's a little bit more fashion for status. This is something that we've seen, let's say, in the UAE, previously, but as well, consumers evolve over time, which is why having studies like this is so important. In terms of preferences, we see a preference for visible brands. In primary cities, they care more about latest trends. And in remote cities, we see this preference for unique pieces, but more so kind of people going to their tailors, seeing something that they might have seen on Instagram, and because they don't have access to the same variety of stores, they would get it done themselves. In primary and secondary cities, again, we see this somehow more advanced consumer. Obviously, mainstream brands continue to matter. So, your fast fashion brands, your luxury brands, but we're seeing a growing interest in sustainable brands and niche brands. Within remote cities, we wanted to understand the interest in things like local brands, and there is growing interest across the cities, but we see somehow remote cities pushing that, but not so much as we know. It's something we probed a little bit more in the interviews. Again, because of that lack of availability of stores, we see consumers going to kind of local shops or tailors to get what they want. COVID has been obviously a catalyst for change, and we see that consumers shop online in primary cities for convenience. Instead of going to a mall where it's busy, parking is an issue. In secondary cities, it's for variety, and in remote cities, it's because they have to. We know travel is a very important kind of factor when it comes to shopping for fashion, and especially for luxury fashion. And for primary and secondary cities, again, similar behavior, where a lot of them will tend to travel abroad when they want to buy fashion. Whereas for remote cities, we see a lot of travel within Saudi, and that's a really interesting opportunity to capitalize on. We see events like Riyadh Park or Riyadh Season, where you see a lot of kind of domestic travel happening, lots of kind of shopping activities or activations that happen, entertainment as well. And just the last point in this slide is, remember how I said we didn't focus just on luxury fashion, we really focus on a range. So everything from fast fashion to high-end fashion. And what we see is that consumers in remote cities are very much more focused on fast fashion, whereas in primary and secondary cities, we see them shopping across a wider range. So starting with, this information in a little bit more detail, and with the question of what role does fashion play in Saudi's lives? So we see fashion really is a key area of spending. We ask consumers, when you exclude rent, utilities, groceries, what are the main areas that you spend your discretionary income on? And 79% ranked retail shopping as their top 3 area of discretionary spending. So that's pretty huge. We see this is much higher amongst the more affluent consumers, women especially, and here is what we see kind of secondary and remote cities pushing up these results. And just to kind of compare it a little bit, we had other categories, we had dining out and electronics, and you see it's much, much lower, 48% for dining out, 41% for electronics. Now, we see fashion really is first and foremost a means of expression. We gave consumers a series of statements and they had to kind of rank which ones they most agreed with. And we see that fashion, 70% said it's a way of expressing my personality and style. It's a way of rewarding myself, and 56% a way of standing out from the crowd. Now, the second one, a way of rewarding myself, is an interesting one because even during COVID, during lockdowns, during closures, border closures, store closures, etc., we still saw consumers buying luxury at a time when they didn't really have anywhere to show it. And one of the key reasons for that was really simply to reward themselves. Now, these behaviors we see really being pushed by consumers, particularly in Jeddah and Riyadh. Now, if we compare some of the differences, we see nuances in behaviors depending on which cities we're talking to. So for consumers in secondary cities, again, this is where we see that they buy a little bit more to show their social status. So 50% versus maybe 45% in primary cities. And in remote cities, it's more a way of connecting with their peers versus what we would see in primary cities. Now, we see fashion really is about comfort and it's about recognition. So 61% like to wear pieces from recognizable brands. You know, if they're going to be paying a certain premium, they want people to know where it's from. We see more of a shift towards kind of comfortable and practical pieces, something really, really being pushed since COVID. And we see 53% really want to be wearing the latest fashion trends. Again, behavior that we're seeing pushed by consumers in primary and secondary cities. In remote cities, we see that they're slightly less trend driven. Just a few numbers for comparison. So whereas we have 50% who wear pieces from recognizable brands versus 65% in primary cities, 45% who wear the latest fashion trends versus 57% in primary cities, etc. Now, we really wanted to try and capture, different trends that have evolved and, growing interest in different categories. And again, COVID being a catalyst for change in many, many ways, we wanted to tap into kind of athleisure, sneakers, etc. And, we kind of asked consumers, okay, in the next 12 months, what are the categories that you're most likely to be buying? And this is where we see that 85% of consumers in primary cities plan on buying sneakers in the coming 12 months. So huge number. And if you compare that to remote cities, we see only 48%. So already in that very big differences between the different regions in Saudi. For activewear, again, maybe not as high, but still, over 1 in 2 consumers planning on buying activewear in the coming 12 months versus 38% in remote cities. Now, one of the things, we always tell some of our partners who, have their headquarters in France, etc., there's really no one-size-fits solution to consumers in the GCC, but the same applies even when you're operating in the same country. And we see a lot of differences even within Saudi between the primary cities, secondary, and of course the remote cities. Now, focusing a little bit more on these remote cities, we see them pushing more of the results for traditional clothing and traditional footwear. So 45% planning to buy more traditional clothing in the coming 12 months versus 22% in primary cities. We have traditional footwear, so 64% versus 42% in primary cities. Now, what we see if we look at this brand spectrum for fashion is that fashion really still is mostly about mainstream brands. 69% will buy from well-known international brands, predominantly, but we're seeing a shift. So 58% say they'd also like to buy from niche brands, 52% as well from sustainable brands. We're seeing a lot more of a shift towards sustainability, whether it's fashion or beauty in the region. Not quite where maybe the rest of the world is, but at least we're on that trajectory. Now, again, results really being pushed by consumers in Jeddah and Riyadh, Mecca, Medina, Dammam, and Khobar as well. Now, for remote cities, we see that they have higher results for buying from local regional brands and designers. When we were probing a little bit in the interviews, like I mentioned earlier, this is where we saw that they're referring a little bit more to these local tailors rather than local brands and designers as maybe we know it. Now, trying to map out very briefly the consumer journey. So we see, we know obviously the huge importance of social media in the region. Like I mentioned earlier, we're spending at least on average 3 hours a day alone on social media. And that's where we see that a lot of that fashion inspiration typically starts online. 42% say that they get the inspiration from Instagram. We have, just regularly browsing online, whether it's websites, it could be a combination of social media. We see YouTube, browsing the mall, family and friends as well. Now, I think what's interesting here is that family and friends typically is a huge source of kind of information and inspiration in the region. But you're seeing a little bit of a shift as well with kind of the emergence and the growing importance of social media when it comes to inspiration. In terms of the main reasons for shopping for Saudis, so we see that 30% shop to explore what's new. 24% are shopping for a specific occasion. We have 20% who are looking for a deal. We have, 19% selecting products that they've already researched. An element is, wanting to learn about a brand, and 15% is really browsing or kind of shopping on impulse. A few kind of shifts that we've seen over the years is that we see less consumers buying on impulse. Consumers typically already have an idea of what they're looking for. They might have researched it before. They might have seen something on social media, and then they go into the store to find out a little bit more. But this kind of 30% exploring what's new, again, during COVID, despite all the lockdowns, one of the other main reasons for consumers buying luxury is because they wanted to buy the latest trends. So, quite resilient behavior that we've seen from Saudi consumers, but really always focus on the latest happenings and the latest trends for fashion. Now, what you see here is claimed spend. So asking consumers on average how much they think they spend on a regular shopping occasion. It's not actual data. It is based on their kind of recollection. So I will just caveat that. But what you see is on average, Saudis will typically spend between 500 riyal to 1,000 riyal per trip, with quite a big range as well. Now, what you see here are the splits for the different regions, so primary cities, secondary cities, and remote cities. And what you'll see is that you have kind of remote cities pushing a lot of those kind of lower spends. So, 13% spending, let's say, between 250 to 500 riyal, and maybe kind of secondary cities pushing a little bit more some of those higher spends. So if we look, for instance, in the bracket of 4,000 to 5,000 riyal, you have secondary cities pushing it a little bit, same thing, a little bit below as well. Now, we asked the consumers that we spoke to, the different categories that they buy. So between fast fashion, premium, affordable luxury, or high-end fashion, and really kind of giving them examples so they understand what it is. And the interesting thing to see is that we have about 29% of Saudis in remote cities who are not buying anything above fast fashion. This is especially the case with Saudis kind of with a lower household income. And again, just as a comparison, if we look at kind of the primary and secondary cities, only 3% say that they're not buying anything above fast fashion. So again, quite big differences in behavior between, I would say, primary, secondary versus the remote cities. Now, since COVID, obviously, we've seen a lot of changes in behavior. We've seen from Leia's presentation, even as a group, we've adapted quite quickly. We've increased our online presence pretty drastically in such a short period of time, which brings us to the question of, where are Saudis shopping? Are they shopping in-store? Are they shopping online? And what we see is that 20% say that they shop in-store exclusively. And we have 4% who say that they shop online only. Now, 4% does not seem like a very high number, but if we look at some of our previous studies where we've asked a very similar question, that number has typically been below 1%. It's been 0 point something percent. So even in terms of those kind of consumers shopping exclusively online, that number has increased. But of course, if we look at where the majority of consumers sit, it's really in that middle, where Saudis are really omni-channel shoppers, shopping a combination of fashion, both in-store and online. Now,
is this on primary cities or
sorry,
secondary one? The previous slide, is that on primary city or just in general?
Yeah, so this is in general. So yeah, across. So if we look at where Saudis, are shopping most often, we see a strong preference for shopping directly from the brand, whether it's in-store or online. For in-store, we see, the importance of department stores. We see concept stores coming up. Obviously, we see some very cool ones coming out of Saudi. We see seasonal pop-ups and then outlet stores. For online, we have marketplace, multi-brand websites, department websites, and then again at the bottom, kind of concept websites as well. Now, a small focus on kind of the online arena. Now, if we look at the main reasons that Saudis shop online, we see that it's really driven by convenience. Again, really here being pushed by consumers in primary cities. Safety, again, comes into play, bearing in mind that this was done in February of 2021. So vaccine rollout programs, nowhere near what they were today. And that kind of risk of COVID was, higher than it would be today. But variety, of course, matters, especially in the remote cities. But as well, this notion of being able to browse without actually feeling pressured to buy. We see, consumers, what we see in this study and in other ones as well, often feel that they get better offers when they're shopping online. I know it from myself. I'll always look for a promo code. 9 times out of 10, I will find one. So tying in closely with better prices, but as well linking to variety and being pushed by remote cities, the fact that they're not able to find a brand within their local city. Now, another question we get as well, kind of as a group, is where are these consumers shopping? Is it local websites, regional, international? And so what we see is that 28% will shop only from international websites, 2% from local sites only. But again, very much playing in the middle. So 70% will shop from a combination of local and international websites. So big players like Unas, kind of at a local or regional level. ASOS really leading the way when it comes to international websites as well. Now, for what reasons are they buying from international websites? Again, it really goes down to variety, particularly brand variety, and to an extent product variety. But we see the importance of limited editions, something that's really being pushed by the more affluent consumers that we spoke to. Prices to an extent, this impression that the prices that they might find on international websites are cheaper than what they get in Saudi. In some cases, quick delivery, which is really bad if you can get quicker delivery from an international website than a local one. So a lot of brands and retailers alike have really been focusing a lot more on their last mile delivery, but also paying in installments, which again, brands and retailers are introducing a lot more, and I think particularly since COVID, but something that international websites have maybe kind of done previously. Now, looking at travel, so we see both international and kind of local travel being, a key thing to focus on. So
I just wanted to pause you for a second and say hello to Dana, just to put her on the spot because she just jumped in. Hi, Dana.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Hello.
Cool. And also, guys, please, if you have any questions, don't be shy. Please ask. You've got Eliane for the time. Just keep anything and everything.
I wanted to learn a bit about the Saudi consumer, Eliane. I didn't get enough.
Dana was my partner in crime for this study. So Dana, do you want to continue?
I'm jumping into another meeting, but go ahead.
All right, thanks. So what we had seen before was, we saw those remote cities talking about, they didn't have access to the same brands. So again, wanting to understand when it comes to shopping for fashion, where these consumers shopping. So we have 35% who say that they would shop exclusively in their city, 4% exclusively in other cities. And again, once again, we see them playing within this middle. So 61% shopping a combination. So what we see is that consumers within the primary cities are more likely to kind of shop primarily there, mainly because they already have access to the brands that they want. And for remote cities, it's a little bit more a mix. So sometimes they'll go to other cities depending on what they're looking for and maybe isn't available locally. Now, how often are these consumers kind of traveling to other cities in Saudi to shop for fashion? We see majority would typically kind of travel, let's say, every month, but particularly remote cities. So 42% would travel to other cities in Saudi every month versus 29% in primary cities. So again, quite big differences. And okay, there's a lot of information in this slide, but basically the key takeaway is, across the different cities, you really see a very strong preference for consumers wanting to, go or travel to Jeddah and Riyadh specifically for shopping purposes. Now, I guess the entertainment scene in Saudi has, been changing a lot over the last few years. And, this was still at a time where we weren't sure if these events were going to be happening, but we wanted to get an understanding of, okay, if these events do happen, how likely are consumers to attend? Which ones would they prefer to attend? And you see kind of a very clear preference for the different seasons, Riyadh season in particular. And if we look at kind of the main reasons for why, we see that it's really down to shopping and family entertainment, the two really being tied at number one. So, the importance of kind of providing a dual kind of entertainment and shopping kind of attractiveness for an event like that. We see food and dining, musical concerts, exhibitions, and then a little bit on the lower end sporting events. Now, if we look at kind of travel, but traveling abroad, and this is a quote we took from one of the interviews that Dana, who's just joined us, kindly did, and really on this kind of Saudi who prefers shopping in London. So I prefer shopping in London, where I spend my time shopping in department stores and high streets. I like the experience of walking around, trying things on, sitting down for a coffee in between, etc. And really emphasizing the point that we saw from the interviews and the surveys of Saudis wanting more of an experience when they're shopping. It's not just a transactional element, it's really wanting to be able to go into a store and have an experience at the same time. Now, if we look at intentions to travel abroad, again, small caveat, this was done back in Feb. They had announced that borders would be opening, and then they pushed it in the middle of our field work. So, but just an indication of, again, at the time, intentions to travel abroad. We see that almost 70% were very keen on traveling abroad for shopping in the next 6 months. You had an element who were a little bit uncertain, and particularly those in the remote cities. And if we look at the main destinations that they would prefer, I think no surprises here. Dubai coming up very much on top, and then you have Europe, so Paris and London in particular when it comes to shopping. Now, if we look at the main reasons for preferring to shop for fashion abroad and not in Saudi, again, goes similar to what we saw when it comes to shopping on international websites. So really all about variety, brand variety, product variety. We see the importance of exclusive items. We touch a little bit on that experience of, being able to shop outdoors, going for a nicer atmosphere, prices being lower. So one, the prices, but as well getting that VAT refund, and as well customer service. So all kind of seem to be a step above what they might be getting currently, at least in Saudi. Now, very quickly, just key takeaways maybe to sum up. So what we really have seen is that Saudis are fashion enthusiasts. Obviously that, again, kind of why we're all here today. So we see that, Saudis really express themselves through fashion, but use brands as a normalizer. We see that shopping is a key area of discretionary spending. Majority are on the hunt for novelty. They use it as a means of expression and is really used as a normalizer kind of towards society. We see that although mainstream brands still dominate, we see, particularly kind of upper middle class to affluent are really widening their collection of brands. So we see growing interest in niche brands, sustainable brands, etc. We see athleisure is here to stay. We spend a lot of time in sweatpants, during COVID and during lockdown, but that's something that is here to stay, but maybe a little bit more elevated. And we continue to see an interest in casual wear kind of post-pandemic. So comfort really is key. Active wear is really a wardrobe staple, but something that we see really to be driven by these more primary and secondary cities. Now, what we mentioned a little bit earlier, we see shopping moving away from just a transaction to really being an experience. And we see Saudis really looking for more meaningful and holistic retail experiences, and particularly something that we see amongst the more affluent Saudi consumers that we spoke to. Again, we see this when they shop abroad. It's a nicer experience. It's more fun. It's almost like an activity. We see a growing interest in seasonal pop-ups. So again, merging kind of shopping and entertainment, again, more so amongst affluent Saudis. And of course, the popularity of the seasons extending just, even beyond shopping. So we saw dining, we saw concerts, etc. Now, we see as well, the importance of kind of international retail therapy. So we see, primary and secondary cities will typically travel internationally to shop. Within remote cities, they're more likely to travel within the kingdom. Again, different ways to kind of attract different types of customers. Again, strong plans to travel abroad when the borders were to reopen, and the importance of variety, atmosphere, but as well exclusive offers or exclusive items. And again, looking at some of the kind of accelerators of COVID, and that's really e-commerce. So really a catalyst for change, a lack of variety and desire for convenience driving e-commerce, but still I think a lot of room for development within Saudi. We see that Saudis are very much omni-channel shoppers. We see convenience being a key driver. We see them turning a lot to international websites to fill in some of those gaps in e-commerce, provided locally. But particularly affluent consumers who are pushing this preference for shopping from multi-brand websites specifically for luxury. And that is it from my side. I don't know if I can take any questions, or maybe Dana can help out as well.
I did have a question. You mentioned that most of the data is more female focused. Am I correct? So it would be interesting to see what the male consumer is, because if you're looking at, the Saudi market or how their shopping behavior is, men are starting to care about fashion a whole lot. I've done some pop-ups and interviews and surveys to kind of understand the consumer, and I think a lot of what you said aligns with it.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to see it in a larger scale.
Yeah, so I think that's a very fair point. So about, at least for the survey, I think 65% were women. So there's definitely a skew, but from what we saw was a lot of the behavior was very similar across women and men. And, particularly with this, the interest in fashion, how they're expanding beyond mainstream brands, that interest in athleisure, becoming more comfortable with e-commerce. So quite similar across. But yeah, it could definitely be interesting for us to maybe do a bit more of a deep dive into kind of Saudi male consumers.
Cool. Any other question, guys? Eliane, we can share this one, right, with the gang?
Yeah, for sure. I'll send it across just after this.
Cool. Thank you. So I'll share this one with you guys. Any other questions? This was just to warm you guys up for the rest of the week and next week, just to put a little bit of context and a little bit of data under your fingertips. Do you guys have any questions for Eliane? And if you do, go ahead, Dania. I saw you raise your hand.
Maybe not for Eliane, but maybe for you, Rafi, or the greenhouse. If the study showed that Saudi consumers are omni-channel shoppers, and convenience is a key driving shopping focal point, so why don't we try to sell our pieces also, or Muse pieces online?
So yes, 100%, and that's something that we want to do. Unfortunately, the Muse Concept Store doesn't have an e-com arm just yet. However, we're working on a digital clienteling solution which is kind of an interim in between, where what we'll do is we'll connect your inventory to a landing page powered by Muse, where customers can land on this, and this is where Muse can run a campaign, drive traffic to that particular landing page. And from that landing page, if the consumer really likes a particular piece, it automatically starts a conversation with someone on the shop floor and that piece, and the checkout process can happen digitally via a payment link. So we're working to give you a bit of a digital arm, but at the same time, we also want to encourage you to either improve, and we're bringing an ex-Google, ex-Amazon expert in next week to talk to you about how to build e-commerce quickly, and what are some of the basics in order to, you know, have a good call to action, to have a conversion rate, and really build those out. Coupled with your sessions with Facebook, where not only are we going to be driving performance marketing on your behalf, but you guys get your own dedicated budget with the content that we're going to be creating and giving you. You'll be able to run your own performance marketing campaigns to drive traffic to your e-coms and generate a little bit of a revenue directly for you guys. So there is a digital arm to it, and you're 100% correct. Unfortunately, because Muse Concept Store is so new, they haven't launched an e-commerce arm just yet.
Just because I realized, like, just from like word of mouth, I've noticed a lot of people don't tend to like to go to malls to shop. I don't know. I mean, from my friends prefer online, like over
Of course.
malls. So I don't know. Maybe
I mean, with the likes of Farfetch and ASOS and all these global players that have come in and made online shopping, mobile first shopping so much fun and so much easier, it's only natural that that's going to be the same in Saudi. And from what Eliane said, Saudi is a huge country, and you have you know, first tier, but you also have second tier, third tier cities, and you have a lot of shoppers there as well that don't have access physically to your collections. And this is where that e-commerce approach gives you that reach, obviously. But at the same time, that's where the content comes to tell your story, because you need to align both in order to have kind of that perfect moment where you explain who you are and you kind of weave this beautiful story about your brand that gets that consumer to want to buy it. And then the next best thing is, you know, where does the shopping journey start? Unless it's from word of mouth, it most likely comes from, you know, from Google, right? You start searching, or from Instagram. You have some sort of a touch point where the search begins, and then you have this full funnel. So we'll discuss this full funnel, of course. But this is where you're 100% right, and this is where we do want to play. In the beauty incubator, we were a little bit luckier because we were utilizing faces.com, which you guys are familiar with, faces.com, and it was purely a digital endeavor where we used to. So your pop-up in Muse Concept Store was an actual digital pop-up on the website, and all the performance marketing content that we're creating was driving traffic directly there to generate sales. We did a couple of offline events as well, but really the focus was digital. For you guys, the focus is a lot more offline, but it kind of makes a little bit more sense with fashion, especially with the footfall in Riyadh, because that interaction with the brand, with the pieces, is just so important for all of you. But yeah, to your point, you're 100% right.
Thank you, amazing. And thank you for the informative presentation. It was so insightful, amazing. We want it.
Well said, Oliver, don't worry. Thank you.
Yeah, Eliane, if you have any other presentations around the same subject, maybe not as acute, but more general around Saudi and maybe around the region that we can share with the gang, I think that'd be very interesting as well, just to give them a little bit more context on the regional landscape as well. Because we do want these guys to, you know, go regional and international someday. I hope they want the same, but at least this is my ambition. So this more or less wraps up the first day, guys. Again, we just wanted to warm things up with more of a one-way discussion and kind of giving you a little bit more overview on the group, the greenhouse, and obviously a little bit of a highlight on the Saudi market. Moving forward, the sessions are going to become a lot more interactive. So tomorrow we're going to kick off with what I think is one of the most exciting and important sessions, which is around financial and business modeling. So you're going to have 2 team members from the investment team, Noor and Marco, and 1 member from our team, Joanne. They'll introduce themselves tomorrow, of course, but these guys are experts on retail business modeling and financial acumen. So it will kick off with a general session, and then we'll start booking one-on-ones with all of you or in groups, whatever makes sense, to help you understand your business model, your financial model, and really start going to the nitty-gritty to understand all the important financial aspects to make your brand not only successful from a front-end perspective, let's say, but also from a financial perspective for you guys. So that's tomorrow. And then we are going to jump in with the Content Factory. That's going to give a session around brand building, and really, like, all of you have done brand building. Obviously, you guys have brands, and that's why we're here tomorrow. But there's a systematic approach to building a brand, and there's a lot of things that you need to keep into consideration once you start building content and communicating about your brand and really building that brand equity. So they'll give you a little bit more of the science behind building a brand, so you can start applying that to your brand. Then you have a phenomenal session with Facebook and the Facebook team, 1 out of 5 sessions, to understand all the tools that you have under your fingertips when using the Facebook family of apps, because they have a lot, and how to kind of, tap into, utilize each one. And that kind of wraps up this, I would say, short week, because Thursday is off here in the UAE. I'm not sure if it's off in Saudi. I don't think so. And then next week, we dive a little bit deeper with supply chain, with performance marketing, with e-com, with visual merchandising, and with buying. And again, those are going to be very much interactive, and always feel free to reach out to each of the experts for further questions, for further guidance, and really, as Dina said, make the most of it. Reach out to us, try to connect with anyone and everyone that you feel that would add value to you and to building your brand. At the end of the day, this is for you guys. We want to support you as much as possible, and this is the best way. You're getting untapped expertise. So I would really strongly encourage you to touch base with everybody that you meet and keep in contact with all the people that you meet. And yeah, one piece of news, on November 7th, we'll be hosting a panel discussion. The audience is going to have Michael Shohoub and David Veracruz, who are pretty much the people that run the show at Shohoub Group. And obviously we're going to invite probably another 100 or so people from the organization, and we'll bring in Facebook, we're going to bring in Arwa, and we're going to bring Elisa from Level to talk about the future of Saudi. Obviously you guys are going to be part of the panel. I'll not be moderating, but just a heads up, I know we have about a month to go, but just a heads up, we'll start scheduling that session, and we'll start kind of pre-prepping you around the topic of discussion and the questions we're going to be asking you. But it should be really, really cool. And this will give you tremendous exposure to the rest of the organization, and hopefully start to put together some really nice partnerships moving forward. That's pretty much it. I don't want to keep any of you for any longer. Thank you, Elian. Thank you, Leah, for the wonderful presentations. And thank you very much for being here, guys. And we will see you tomorrow, same time, I believe. And yeah, I mean, open to question, comments, etc., from anyone and everyone in this group. Don't be shy if you have anything to say.
Thank you, everyone. I think the last presentation was really informative. I would really recommend. I'd really appreciate having that presentation.
Of course, you got it. Cool, guys. If there's anything else you want to ask offline, feel free to reach to myself or Sinead. If you want to speak to Elian and Leah at any other point, I'm sure we can make that happen. Yeah, you guys are free to go, and I really hope personally to meet you in person soon in Riyadh. Hopefully that will happen at some point. Cool, guys. That's it. That's a wrap up. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. Thanks.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, Leah. Thanks, Eliane.